Reports suggest that Johannesburg Mayor Dada Morero could be on his way out, barely 7 months since he took the reins. Business Day is reporting that he's likely to be replaced after top ANC leaders agreed that he should be removed in favor of an eThekwini-style intervention for the city. However, despite the decision having been taken 3 weeks ago, it has not yet been implemented. The city of Johannesburg is in disarray. It owes Eskom billions and its financial reserves are drying up fast. On Thursday, President Cyril Ramaphosa lashed out at the state of the country's biggest city. Political analyst Dr Levy Ndou joins me live now. Good morning. Professor, thank you so much for your time. Welcome to Newzroom Afrika.
Good morning to you. Good morning to the viewers at home. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Firstly, do you think that the ANC's choice to keep Morero as mayor truly represent the best interests of the people of Johannesburg, or perhaps that it's just a decision driven by the need to maintain a stable coalition government?
Well, I think it will depend on the assessment that the ANC have to make based on the performance of the mayor and the executive in the city of Johannesburg. But what we do know is that the ANC and indeed the president of the country are concerned about the state of the city of Johannesburg. You don't need to have a qualification to observe that things are not running as expected in the city of Johannesburg. And I think that is why the city has also attracted this kind of intervention by the presidency to assist the city to be able to perform better. And that intervention only could be interpreted in many different ways. It could be an indication that indeed the city has reached a stage where it cannot do anything beyond what they are doing now. It could also be an indication that the leaders of the ANC no longer have trust in the political leadership in the city. It could be an indication that those that are running the city have reached a stage where they know that they cannot do anything. And that says that something has to be done, and indeed we've seen such starting to happen.
Now, Dr. Ndou, some have raised concerns about Mayor Dada Morero's prioritization of the G20 summit preparations over the long-standing city issues. What are your thoughts on this potential conflict in priorities?
You don't need to fix the city because there is an event that is coming. You need to fix the city because you have got the responsibility and the mandate given to you to fix the city. If you only fix the city because there is an event that is coming, it means you know the problems that are there, but you only want to do what is right for PR purposes only. And that, for me, is something that will never be allowed to happen. And it reminds us that each time when ministers or politicians would be visiting certain areas, there would be some improvements that are done only to demonstrate to the political heads that things are right in that environment. My view is that the city should require a very strong overall and a new mindset, and of course the new energy to be able to deal with the challenges. Some of the challenges might not have been caused by the city. For an example, the influx of people into the city and the uncontrolled movement in the city is something that will require the intervention of law enforcement agencies and other layers of government. But when you have the city that has a collapsing infrastructure, when you have the city that is not in control of the buildings. Some are being hijacked and some are dilapidating. When you have got the city that appears not to be having a clear program on how to maintain generally the infrastructure, that talks to serious problems. But also the inability of the city to simply deal with budgetary issues and how they should collect the revenue could be some of the challenges that are there. But in the main, you need an overhaul of the HR system in the city so that you are able to put the right people with right skills and right attitude to be able to make a difference in the city.
Now, the ANC Secretary General, Fikile Mbalula, said this on his official X account yesterday, that Joburg started the decay when it fell in the hands of the coalition, and went on to say that even now, as we speak, Joburg is a coalition government. Now, Doctor, did Johannesburg's decay really start last year, 2024? Is this statement truthful?
No, unfortunately, I would beg to differ. Not now. The coalition in Johannesburg started some few years. But of course, we could still be able, to a certain extent, blame the coalition in the city of Johannesburg. In the last few years, we have had an exchange of political leadership in Johannesburg constantly. And Johannesburg has always witnessed political instability, which has a huge potential to frustrate service delivery and also to frustrate even the personnel that is working in the city, because on a regular basis, there would be changes of the political leadership, and some will be coming with their own ideas and own priorities. And that consistency in governance in the city of Johannesburg could also be blamed for the changes or poor service delivery in that area. Another aspect, in my view, that could have contributed to the challenges in the city of Johannesburg is that there has been a lot of interventions or influence by political parties at national level. And it gave or created a situation where the people that are running the city would constantly be consulting people who are outside of the city in terms of how they are supposed to be running the city. So people who do not understand the dynamics in the city were calling the shots. And in my view, that is another source of the problem in that city and other cities as well.
Now, much as the city of Joburg is under coalition, but Doctor, do you think that the ANC has a plan to address service delivery challenges facing the city?
I think it will depend on what they bring onto the table. They appear to be very much excited and happy about the intervention that has been made in the city of eThekwini. And there are those who are saying that since the intervention took place, there is notable progress in the city of eThekwini. If that can be done in the city and there would be progress, indeed, me and many others will say the intervention was necessary, hence we can see the good fruits that it brings along with it.
Now let's talk a bit more about the coalition in the city of Joburg. Do you think that the coalition government perhaps prioritized party interests over residents' needs?
The members of the coalition in the city of Johannesburg and elsewhere would spend a lot of time managing issues relating to a coalition rather than focusing on service delivery issues. And it is in the nature of politicians that they would focus on their positions and nothing else. The constant changes that has taken place that I've spoken about could also be blamed for the instability and poor service delivery in the city of Johannesburg. My view is that it's about the change of mindset.
All right. And in closing, Doctor, now the ANC Greater Johannesburg region will be having its elective conference. How do you think that might pan out? And I mean, do you perhaps think that Loyiso Masuku will challenge Morero for mayoral position?
Well, in the nature of the ANC and with other political parties, they encourage that there should be contestation so that people should vote, and that should be a demonstration of democracy. They could still sit down, Loyiso and Dada, and come to some form of agreement so that they don't necessarily contest each other. But the challenge is that we have observed is that in many instances where there is hot contestation, it develops to become factional, and then comrades end up becoming enemies because of a simple contestation. Maybe this is one other area that political parties should find ways and means to manage it properly so that they don't unnecessarily create factions within these parties.
Doctor, thank you so much for your time.